So I know I'm going to sound like a broken record when I say this, but this next film really is perfect to premiere here in Austin at the 2024 South by Southwest Film and TV Festival, because this is a film about the Black Keys. No, that's the title of the movie. This is a film about the Black Keys. Good to see you. It is so great to meet you guys. Hey, how are you? I'm Scott.
Good.
So let me just have you stand right here if that's okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the first question is, how excited are you to have your story premiere here out of all places, South by Southwest?
Yeah, I mean, it made perfect sense to do it here since we have a new album coming out, and our probably only movie, So we've decided to just come here and do everything at once. So it's cool.
So what was behind the idea? What launched into just this, hey, let's tell our story?
Well, Pat was friends with the producer, approached him about it, pitched the idea, and we thought it might be nice timing.
Now, what do you hope that people, like, even especially fans who think they know everything about Black Keys, what do you hope that they take away from the doc that even they might not know?
Well, I mean, I think it is kind of it's like a rock and roll fairy tale sort of, but I think the most important thing is, to demonstrate, show people like how we started and that we came from, playing in our parents' basements in Akron and how much work it took to kind of get to where we are,
When you're doing a documentary about your life, your career, you might think about things you haven't thought about for a long time, or things maybe you even forgot about. So, like, what were some of the fondest sort of like memories that you unlocked by talking about it all again?
I mean, the thing that was really amazing after seeing the documentary was how much footage and photographs there were. I didn't even remember. It reminded me of so much. It was kind of incredible. So I'm excited for the fans to see that stuff.
Now, was there a moment, like when you're making the film or you're watching the film, that make you feel so proud?
No.
Oh, come on! It's got to be something.
You know what? I think honestly, the most proud I felt watching this film was like being able to put like the old footage of us, like photos and stuff of us in the van, being able to be separated from it enough to like have an appreciation for it, because at the time it was definitely very rough. You know what I mean? And it was really hard to put months and months and years of sitting in the back of a van and eating corn nuts.
Now, in terms of like working on this film, you say you're working on a new album while you're here. How did making this film kind of like rejuvenate your music, rejuvenate your relationship?
Oh, well, it was definitely like an unexpected surprise. So it was nice to have something out of the ordinary to work on. I think that's always good.
I think I think the film too. Like, we definitely had input into it, and I think it's a testament to how we've always had this really productive, creative relationship where we've been able to be on the same page. It's very rare, So even when it came to the film, the first time we saw the first cut of it, we both had the same exact notes and sat there and we're able to kind of get our creative point across.
All right, so the last question for you is this, and we're covering all the films here for 10 straight days. So when I ask each of you to look into our social media camera, I'm going to ask you this. When you were a kid, what was your favorite movie and why?
Goonies. Because it's a group of friends having a big adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my kids' favorites too. Goonies. Seen it like a million times. Yeah. Goonies Never Say Die.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, really good meeting you. Thank you so much. Have a great South by. Thanks.
Actually, you guys should shoot together.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys so much.
Hey there. How do you do? Scott, so nice to meet you.
you, Scott.
Let me have you stand right here. So tell me why South by is the perfect place to premiere. This is the Black Keys.
Well, the Black Keys have a long history at South by Southwest, as do I. I've had 2 films premiere here. They were performing here back in 2003. There's footage actually in the movie of them performing here, so it's great. Look for it. You'll see the South by banner. So, of course, there was no other place we'd rather be than South by Southwest.
Why is now the right time to tell the story of the Black Keys?
It's It's a story about friendship and perseverance, and it's also a story about great music. So it's always time to tell a story like that, if you ask me.
Were they like, yeah, let's do this? Or were they like, yeah, I don't know?
It kind of went down during the pandemic, which is like a perfect time to sort of get a project like this off the ground. And, I think it was so smart of them to do this mid-career as opposed to waiting for longer, because they have so much left to do. They're sort of moving out in all directions. So,
How did working on the film rejuvenate their relationship, rejuvenate their creativity?
I think it was super meaningful for them to like look back and see how far they've come. And I think there was so much footage and photographs in the film that they didn't even know existed. So I think that part of it was super fun for them. And no one's ever told their story like this before. So
They've got their fans, and they've got they know a few songs here or there. But what do you hope people watching the film discover about the Black Keys?
I think they'll discover that, these two guys had this astonishing ability to create music together, and that is such a powerful bond. And for them, it was all about building a friendship on top of that. So, and a friendship that really, has lasted for a long time. So
Very, very exciting.
yeah, we're excited too.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to
Thanks.
meet
Have
you.
a great fest.
Help me welcome back director Jeff Dupre. And welcome producer Carter Little. And of course, give a big warm welcome for Patrick Carney and Dan Auerbach, the Black Keys. Do you think they liked it? I think they did. Can y'all do me a favor and just step forward away from the screen? Perfect. That's the best light, so we all look real good. I just wanted to start by saying thank you so much for sharing this film with everyone. I'm definitely one of those old school fans that didn't really know a lot about the history and how vulnerable you were. It was beautiful, so thank you for that. Can you talk, like in the intro, you gave a shout out to Carter. Can you explain kind of what your relationship is and how this started to percolate and come about?
I met Dan and Pat when they moved to Nashville, and we organically started working on a couple of things. We worked on the RZA film, Man with the Iron Fists. They had a song from the Black Rock sessions that was a title theme in the movie. And then they were part of our Soundbreaking series, Going Electric episode with Stevie Wonder and Jimi Hendrix and a bunch of other, Devo, a bunch of other amazing artists. And had always kind of talked about this with Pat about, when are you guys gonna do a doc? When are you guys gonna do a doc? And timing was never right. And then the opportunity presented itself to start shooting some stuff about 3 years ago. And I knew that if anyone was gonna do this, it was gonna be Show Force and Jeff, because their track record and their amazing works, particularly with archival footage. What you guys saw is footage that we gathered with the guys over the 3-year period from what is a 25-year career. So that's how it came about. And somehow they tolerated us. I don't know how, but we made it. And we're so grateful to both of them for sharing their story with the world.
Was there anything about finally agreeing to make this film that kind of surprised you about the process, kind of looking back?
I mean, we've never made a film, obviously, before. And it was, at times, tedious, especially watching like footage of me being a bitch, for instance. But, I can be one, so, we had to bear all.
Okay, here's a great audience audience question. Do you feel like burnout is a required step on the journey of being a creative person? What would you bring as the best advice for people who are maybe experiencing that to break out of
You
it?
know, I think that's like maybe for me, one of the overarching things of the film that was important to demonstrate was that, like, you know, we started in our parents' basements, and we had to figure a lot of stuff out for ourselves, and yeah, no one stepped in, and it was like, you know, you guys, you can take a break. So I think if I was ever a manager, I'd probably be very successful, because I just I'd own a resort and just send the bands there after every album. I'd double dip. But no, I don't know. I don't think burnout's a requirement, but I think we do work pretty well under pressure. But then it gets to a point where you start mixing in the thing of, you know, the traveling aspect of, and leaving your family. That's the hard part, you know. But the work is not the hard part. It's the being away.
What do you think about that? I feel like what you're saying would resonate with a lot of our filmmakers at the festival.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it's not too different than documentary filmmaking, but especially with these guys. But you know, I mean, for us, like we really wanted to let their music tell the story as much as possible. That was our kind of organizing principle in the edit room, because the film is all about trying to reveal who these two guys are, and I feel like their music really captures them at all these moments of time, and really tells you like what they were thinking, what they were feeling, and so that was our big, you know, sort of idea, was like let the music tell the story, drive the narrative, and yeah, we have 48 songs of theirs in the film, so. It's a dream.
That's a lot. That's amazing. I love how well integrated they are. It was just perfect. It's almost like you're a really great documentary filmmaker.
Well, no, that's a testament to our two editors, Adam Zucker and R.A. Fetty. They're both so gifted. Cannot thank them enough.
Amazing. Another question from the audience from Tyler. In all of your years together, did you decide on a favorite place to tour or a favorite restaurant or venue or town?
I mean, we've been all kinds of places.
Yeah, we've been everywhere, and our favorite place still is pretty much Swenson's. You know?
Yeah.
Can never make a new old friend. Okay, what about when you were going through the archival footage, which was a really big undertaking, I know. Was there anything that you found that kind of surprised you that had been saved or gotten into these boxes that were kept around?
I mean, it was all a surprise, and we found a whole bunch, and then there's just wave after wave of more material kept bubbling to the surface, which of course is like what you really want. But last summer we were kind of in a panic because we were drowning in it, and thank goodness my team was so good at sort of going through it all. I mean, each of the performances you see in the film, we evaluated like 20 performances for that slot. And we'd be like, is this one better than this one? And you know, we're just like, that was really a challenge.
I would have liked to see the criteria for what made one
There's so
better.
many criteria, and like one would check 5 boxes and the other would check, you know, and so that was a big challenge.
A big breakthrough was really helpful. We had to get the story right, and to get the story right, we had to involve the guys. And there was a big breakthrough where Patrick adamantly underscored to us, use the records. And it was a real challenge, I think, for R.A. and Adam, our amazing editors, again, to do that. But a lot of what you're seeing, there's very few truly live performances in the entire film. 90% of the live footage you see is cut to the record. And for those of you who edit, you know how hard that is to pull that off. But also, if you've listened to let's give it up for R.A. and Adam. Also, if you've listened to the Black Keys records, you know that that's where the secret sauce is in this band. For me in particular, listening to the first third of the film, the early records are just so, where it's just you guys, are so visceral and emotional and raw.
That's such a hipster comment, by the way. And that's what we're up against, working with these guys.
I know.
See what we deal with?
Carter and I
The early stuff, I mean, jeez.
We over-intellectualize everything, and we're like, we have this philosophy of how your evolution, and Dan would just look at me like, what? Like, what are you talking about? We walked into the room, and we laid down tracks.
Their first third of their catalog, so superior, in my opinion. But you can like what you want.
Free criticism here.
Okay, with all of the things that you have had to choose between, was there something that you had to cut that was the hardest thing to kind of let go out of the film?
I mean, we had a 3-hour cut at one point, so the whole process is like figuring out the structure, and then you start just removing so many different things. I mean, I don't know. There was a lot more of stuff with Peter Relic in the early touring, which was like really funny. I would love to have more of that. I don't know. What else? I'm like.
There's a lot of good stories that didn't make the film, and I sent a link to our tour manager, Ben Corrigan, who worked with us in the UK from 2003 to like 2009, and he wrote back that he liked it, but he's like, what about all this shit? And I was like, oh yeah. There was some good stuff.
Okay, here's another one. How many times have you played at South by Southwest? And Anthony also says, welcome back.
This is our 4th time here. We came in 2003, 2004, and 2010. And this is our first time back.
We're happy to have you.
We cleverly hid some South by Southwest signage, so.
Yes, I was in the back going, yeah, fuck yeah. It was good in the shows at Emo's, which could have been any time. That was my spot always growing up. Okay, what about what was the worst part of having them hang around with you? What was the highs and lows? Was there anything? I know you were kind of embedded for part of the time for some of the more current footage. What was that like for you to have someone with you in your process?
I mean, it wasn't intrusive.
Liar.
It wasn't really.
They locked me in the back of a bus once.
Yeah. We worked with this guy. I won't say who he is, but he was like kind of a luminary hip hop guy, and he had like a camera follow him like 20 hours a day, and this wasn't anything like that. But he paid people. He wanted that, And but we understood that it was important to kind of open up and tell the story if we wanted it to be accurate. So we were on board.
Love it. Stephanie wants to know, does Dan still have that sick leather jacket that you bought instead of going to the sound check?
I was there with Pat's brother, Michael. He took me to that store. And,
Leather strip.
I still have that jacket. It's hanging in the studio. It's amazing.
I have some more questions. Let's see. Okay, I don't know how you're gonna feel about this one. Did anybody ever ask you to change your name? Mark wants to know. Or did anybody pitch you like a ridiculous name for the band that they wanted you to change it to?
No, that never happened, but I'd be up for it.
You're ready for the next wave after 25 years?
There's always something better, yeah.
These are getting a little ridiculous over here. I love y'all so much. I love you so much, and I know that you love this band. Okay, let's talk about the new record. Everyone's excited for Ohio Players. How many tracks can fans expect?
We made a lot of songs for the new album. and there's 14 songs on the new album. But there's some extras that will come out after the fact. Yeah, we almost made a double album, but we decided to hold back some of those songs. Some of them just weren't. They just didn't fit in. They're maybe a little bit too, I don't know. They just didn't work in the context of the album. But we have worked so much the last year and a half. We spent, I don't know, over 150 days in the studio since 2022, and have just made a ton of stuff. So
That's exciting, right? Hell yeah. And can you remind everybody when we can expect to hear this?
the album is out April 5th.
Hell yeah. Also, I want to remind you that if you want more Black Keys in your life this week, you can see their keynote on Thursday at 1 p.m. And you can see them perform at Mohawk at 12:15 late, midnight on Thursday or on Friday at Stubbs. So be sure to check them out all at South by this week. And thank you so much for sharing the story with us and being a part of South by Southwest.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, if you love the music of the Black Keys, this movie is for you. But if you don't, watch the film and you will discover the greatness of the Black Keys. So much more great premiere content coming your way from South by Southwest 2024.